Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Leatherneck Insider. I'm Tucker Minton.
And I'm Patrick Cummings. The WIU football team just concluded their spring game on Thursday. Leatherneck Insider reporter Ben Polanka has more.
WIU football just hosted their spring game, and as head coach Joe Davis is entering his second season, he reflects on his first season with Western.
I really believe there's a general sense of optimism in our football program right now, and really over the last 14 months, we've celebrated a lot of little victories within our football program, and those victories, have been in the academic side of the house, it's been in the recruiting side of the house, it's been in the fundraising side, where we've made a lot of improvements and focused a lot of our energy on things that we can control right now as a football program. So excited about that, excited about the players' buy-in to those aspects, and obviously trying to build, on the success that we had on the field last year. Certainly not what we wanted it to be, and certainly not where we want to be yet. But I think there's a lot of pieces here in place in the football program that maybe weren't necessarily here last year.
Coach Davis tells us what he wants to get out of the spring game.
Yeah, well, you want to see guys respond and play when there's no lifeguard on duty, so to speak. The coaches are off the field, the players are going to have to run the calls that the coaches give them, and how can they execute, how can they communicate, how physical can we be. Those are all attributes that collectively you want to see take a big jump after that game Friday night when we watch the video. And then certainly we want to come out healthy. We want our guys to come out of this thing with a little bit of hunger for the summer program and for really the next phase of our training.
With Nathan Lamb graduating, Davis said there will be a competition for a new starting quarterback.
Have really 5 talented quarterbacks that have been competing all spring. And we're going to let that competition play out into the summer and into the fall. And eventually we'll kind of narrow it down to 2 or 3 guys. And then, we'll name a starter at some point, certainly before that Big Ten opener. But excited about that room and excited how they've competed thus far.
For Leatherneck Insider, I'm Ben Polanka.
The Leathernecks kick off their regular season against Big Ten opponent Illinois in Champaign on August 30th.
The WIU tennis team concluded their spring season and are headed to the OVC tournament in St. Louis. Leatherneck Insider reporter Ben Polanka caught up with senior Paige Grice on how head coach Luke Ogren helped her improve her game and how the team feels confident heading in the OVC tournament.
WIU tennis is heading in the OVC tournament after going 11-8 overall and 5-1 in conference, securing a top 2 seed. A huge reason for this is from great coaching. Senior Paige Grice talks about how Coach Luke Ogren improved her game throughout her time at Western and how the team has good chemistry.
He has made huge changes in this team. First of all, with recruiting, because we have so many very good players on our team this year, but also in terms of just coaching us and making us better and pushing us. Like, for example, I have way more wins this year than I had in all of my 3 years combined before this year. And that's definitely because I've had way more opportunity to train and have good coaching. And also, I have great teammates that are also very high performance players, so that always improves practices. And we have a really good team atmosphere. We get along with each other. We all care about improving, and we all push each other. And
Grice shares how confident her and the team has to win in the OVC tournament.
We know that we can beat anybody in this conference after playing this whole season. So that will definitely give us some confidence, but also the whole big picture of how the season has gone. We've had ups and downs. We had a lot of losses that were really close. We had a lot of 4-3 losses. We had losses that definitely could have been wins, but we also had wins over teams that we weren't supposed to beat. So,
for Leatherneck Insider, I'm Ben Polanka.
Congrats to Paige Grice on an amazing career here at Western Illinois.
We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we will have more news on the Diamond and the upset alert with Caleb Mays.
Not W?
It's not W, it's W. W.
W. That's what I've been stressing out about the most so far. Is saying W because I know it's something you're going to say.
Ready to go?
Yeah, we've been ready.
They're like, we're waiting on, what are we waiting on?
They haven't said anything. I said we're ready to go. We can start.
Hello everyone, I am Will Thomas.
And I'm Dane Mackley. Welcome to this week's edition of Leatherneck Insider.
Welcome back to Salee Hall. WIU baseball is coming off a series win over the UT Martin Skyhawks on Sunday. The Leathernecks defeated the UT Martin Skyhawks by a score of 14-9. Kenneth Perez and Mount Olive both hit grand slams to lead the Leathernecks to victory. My partner Patrick Cummings got a chance to speak with Kenneth Perez.
I'm Patrick Cummings, and I'm here with infielder Kenneth Perez. Kenneth, you recently came off the series win over the Skyhawks. What's the energy in the locker room right now coming off this opponent in the conference play?
Right now we actually have some pretty good energy, a lot of positive vibes. We try to stay positive throughout the season or whatever, but yeah, right now it's just tons of energy and just positivity all over.
All right, and you, in the game, the third and final game of the series, you had a grand slam to put your team up 6-0. Take me through the emotions when you hit that grand slam.
Yeah, so at the beginning it was the first inning actually. There was some like commotion going on with both coaches, kind of fired me up a little bit, and then I'm up to the plate, I took a pitch, and then I see the next pitch hanging slider, so I was like, all right, this is my pitch, and I just hit it, and it's like when you hit a ball, it just doesn't even feel like you hit it, it's just like, it's gone. So like, that's kind of what I felt, so.
All right, and in your opinion, how can the team build off this series win?
Right now we just have a ton of momentum, so we just keep going, just have the same energy, and be just fine. Just keep going.
I'm Patrick Cummings reporting from Leatherneck Insider.
The Leathernecks will continue their series against the Little Rock Trojans today at 1 p.m.
The WIU softball team is in their home stretch of conference play. This weekend, they face one of the hottest offenses in the conference, the SIU Cougars. Elisa Goller had this to say about the matchup.
Yeah, well, Lindenwood is the best pitching staff in the conference, and I think, in 2 out of 3 games, we did enough to put ourselves in a position to beat them, and we only came up with, one of them. And I think it's just conversations we had with our offense where we're trying to still build confidence. Like, if you can go and put up that many runs against the team with the #1 staff, like, you got to keep rolling for the rest of the year.
Let's take a look where things stand in the Ohio Valley. Going to be a close finish as the Leathernecks will look to take advantage of their 3 games still against Morehead State next weekend before closing out the conference play against Eastern Illinois.
Now it's time for the Upset Alert with Caleb Mays. What do you have for us this week, Caleb?
Welcome back to another segment of the Upset Alert. As always, I'm Caleb Mays, and while the season may be over, the chaos within the transfer portal is still unfolding. We're going to take a look at the top 5 transfers via OnFree and where they found their new homes at. Starting with the consensus #1 overall, Yaxel Lindeborg, who comes to Michigan after 2 incredible seasons at UAB. The senior averaged over 17 points and 11 rebounds last season and was named the AAC Defensive Player of the Year, Tournament MVP, and earned first-team honors. Jaden Quaintance, the #2 overall transfer, makes his way back to a familiar place with his second commitment to the Kentucky Wildcats. The 17-year-old center will enter his sophomore season with the team he originally committed to after high school, after averaging a little over 9 points and 7 rebounds a game for Arizona State before an injury ended his season. 6'11" center Oscar Clough finds a new home after a standout season at South Dakota State. Clough averaged 17 points and 12 boards for the Jackrabbits out of the Summit League last season. He'll enter his final year of eligibility on his 3rd team in 3 seasons. Bennett Sturtz follows head coach Ben McCollum to the Iowa Hawkeyes after a phenomenal stint at Drake. Sturtz was both the Missouri Valley Player of the Year and Newcomer of the Year, as well as being included on multiple All-American first-team lists. Jameer Watkins still has yet to find a home and has both entered the portal as well as declaring for the NBA draft. With recent rule changes, Watkins is allowed to return to school by June 15th, which is the deadline to withdraw from the draft. As of April 8th, over 2,000 players have now entered their name in the portal. The landscape's only going to shift even more as NIL and veteran recruiting become more dominant in college hoops. That's all for today. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Caleb. A lot of new faces and a lot of changes in the NCAA. When we come back, we'll have stories on men and women's golf, track and field. Don't go anywhere.
Taking me home.
Here, I engineer the future.
Here, I have countless opportunities. Here, I do research.
Right here at Western.
Welcome back to Leatherneck Insider. The WIU women's golf team finished up their season earlier this week at Muscle Shoals, Alabama. The women's team finished 5th overall in the meet with a team score of 102 over. Western finished with 3 players in the top 20, led by senior Abby Hunter, who placed 13th overall with a score of 19 over. This is her second meet in a row, leading the Leathernecks in scoring. In the final round, Hunter tied for the best third round score, shooting a 4 over. Hunter was followed by Mia Scrimjaw, who finished 14th with a plus 21 score, and Olivia Kerr at 20 overall, shooting plus 29. The women's team is off for the year and will now spend the offseason waiting for the announcement of a new head coach.
WIU track and field has had a great start to the season. Leatherneck Insider reporter Nathaniel Rogers had a chance to speak with head coach Scott Barnes about the season so far.
The WIU track and field team has gotten off to a great start. I had the opportunity to talk with first-year head coach Scott Barnes and how he's adjusted to the Division I level.
There's obviously a different level of seriousness, that comes along with D1. But I think, in the past with, my assistant coach, Ben Jeffries, who's an Olympian, Matt Rosado, who's had phenomenal teams as a head coach himself, Tom Unruh, who's just done an incredible job with our pole vault crew, and then Logan Lomel, a guy that was an athlete here. We believe very strongly in our recruiting ability. I think that's what one of our strongest traits is. And, as a result, I've had the opportunity to have a couple Olympians, and through that staff, there's multiple All-Americans and national champions that would have been good at the Division I level. So making some of adjustments based on what we have to do in the season is a little bit different. But, we believe very strongly in our training and what we do. And again, a lot of it's the training that I've had my assistant coach, Ben, go through in his Olympic adventures. So it's been an adjustment, but a lot of the pieces I think were already there, and it's just learning some of the odds and ends.
I then asked for his takeaways from the first few meets of the outdoor season.
So like any outdoor season in the Midwest, it's been interesting, and I was just talking to Sebastian about that. We, the first meet, we had to move a lot of things indoors at Illinois State. St. Louis was an absolute monsoon, so the only thing we took away from that meet was just hard competing. You can't worry about the distances or the times. That's just not what it was set up to do. And then we had this last meet for our vaulters again at Illinois State, and best weather we've had so far. And Arnie goes out, breaks the school record. He's number 3 in the country, and our girl vaulters did a great job as well. Dana jumped to number 3 on the list, and Emma and Colleen and have also done really well as well as Angel. So we're just getting ready for the real bulk of our season now. We go to Drake, we go to the Kansas Relays, Simpson. We got to get some great work done because, the opportunities are few and far in between before conference. And the message has been, we just got to compete hard. We can't do anything about the weather. We just got to do what we do. And at the end of the day at conference, it could be bad weather there too. We don't know. So it's all about placing. Times and distances don't always matter.
Long seasons can be inevitable, so I asked how they've been assisting with athletes not getting burnt out.
Being in the thick part of our season where we want to do the best of the entire year, the biggest thing is communication with our athletes. We're constantly hounding them on how are they feeling, where's your mental state, how you feeling physically, what's going on in school. And what we preach to them is, it doesn't do us any good for us to just try to run through a brick wall. We got to take care of the things that we can control, and one of the things that we can control is making sure we're mentally ready, mentally rested, and physically ready and physically rested. And sometimes, pushing through those things does us no good, only hurts us in the long long run. So, you know, we're just in constant communication with our athletes on stuff like that. And as a result, I think the kids are, you know, throughout the year become very comfortable with us, knowing that, hey, they do want to know how we're feeling, how we're doing. Because our job at the end of the day is to set them up to do the best at the end. And one of the best ways we can do that is to know how they're feeling with great communication with our athletes.
Reporting for Leatherneck Insider, I'm Nathaniel Rogers.
The team is currently on the last day of their meet at the Kansas Relays in Lawrence, Kansas. Good luck, Leathernecks.
After a stellar finish at the WAU Intercollegiate, Western Illinois head down to Jonesboro, Arkansas to compete in the Arkansas State Invitational. Leathernecks finished in last place as they shot 50 over as a team. However, it was freshman Owen Howe who showed up for the Leathernecks. Howe finished tied for 31st, shooting 9 over. He was on fire, having 5 birdies in the first round. He would add 5 more birdies in the last 2 rounds. Mateo Rascon finished 13th overall. Nathan Tillman went 18 overall, and Baptiste Laberry shot plus 21 to round it out for Leathernecks. WAU is now heading to Cape Girardeau to compete in the OVC tournament. The first round starts tomorrow. For all the latest information on Leatherneck Golf, visit goleathernecks.com.
We're not done yet. We have national news and schedule updates for Macomb baseball and softball. Stay tuned.
Your vision.
My goal is to work at a top 100 television station as a reporter, anchor, and a producer.
Our mission.
Thanks to Western, I have a resume that would beat out most students from the top journalism schools in the country.
This is Western Illinois University.
I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Welcome back to Leatherneck Insider. On Monday, the Phoenix Suns fired their head coach, Mike Budenholzer, after finishing the 2024-25 season with a record of 36-48, missing the playoffs. This is the 3rd straight year where the Suns have fired their head coach.
NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Larson dominates the Food City 500 at the Bristol Motor Speedway this past Sunday. Larson ended up leading 411 out of 500 laps. He gets his first win in the 2025 season. Congratulations to Larson and the number 5 team for Hendrick Motorsports.
Well, Tucker, I don't know about you, but the NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and I'm going to take the Vegas Golden Knights to win the 2025 Stanley Cup. I think Jack Eichel, who is 8th in the league in points, he's 6th in the league in assists. But what are your thoughts? Who do you think will be the winner of this championship?
I'll say the Winnipeg Jets because they won the President's Trophy this year, and it hasn't been since 2013 since a President's Trophy winner has won the Stanley Cup since the Chicago Blackhawks.
The Macomb High School baseball team are in the middle of their season. Taking a look at the upcoming schedule, the Bombers will play against conference rivals Peoria Heights this morning at 10 a.m. Then the day after Easter, they play at home against Spoon Rival Valley at 4:30 p.m. Then we'll play a doubleheader Friday at Pleasant Plains at 4 p.m. Then face Route Catholic at 6 p.m. Good luck, Bombers, on their upcoming games.
Switching over to softball, the Macomb High softball team has a huge slate of games this coming week. The Lady Bombers will head over to Farmington today for 2 games. They play the host Farmers at 10 a.m., followed by Orion at 12:30 p.m. On Thursday, they will play at Hamilton at 4:30 p.m. Then we'll head back home to face off against Galesburg at 4:30 p.m. Good luck to the Lady Bombers on their upcoming schedule. Well, that's all we have for today. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at InsiderWIU. For Leatherneck Insider, I'm Tucker Minton.
And I'm Patrick Cummings. Have a great day, Leathernecks.